Hi there, folks. This is Adam with 8 Badge Gaming coming to you with the final video in our Zoroark Alolan Exeggutor series, which is going to be our deck review. So this is where we're going to go ahead and dive on into the deck after we've played some games with it, a total of 5 games, and we're going to give our opinion on it overall. Now, again, this is always just my opinion. There's definitely going to be better opinions out there. I know there's some of the pros, such as Tablemon, who has actually played this deck and done a video on it as well. And you can obviously check that out for some great content there. Tablemon always gives good descriptions and explanations. But we're going to give our personal opinion based on the games that we played. Now, with the deck itself, obviously with Zoroark, you want the consistency. I think 4-4 in the Zoroark line is totally fine. Moving into the executes, I actually wasn't impressed with the Alolan Exeggutor GX. I'm not entirely sure really where this kind of fits its way into this deck. It's never been terribly great. I never really had the ability to snipe a lot of damage with it. It wasn't really good in any matchups. There's nothing that's actually weak to Dragon, so I'm not entirely sold on it. I could definitely see dropping it from the deck. Pretty much every single game I was discarding this. I only think I ever evolved into it once, and it didn't really do much for me. So I wasn't impressed with it overall. So I can definitely see the Alolan Exeggutor GX being a cut. The Tropical Head just involves way too much of an energy investment for the deck to really be able to throw out any decent amount of damage. I didn't really have the ability to do Dragon Hammer or the Tower Go Round, and it just really wasn't relevant either for me to be able to do either of those attacks. So personally, if I were to play this deck again, I would straight up drop the Alolan Exeggutor GX. It's not a great card, but I'm not entirely sure what I would sub in over it. Now, the potential there could be some sort of other attacker overall, likely something that attacks with either a DCE or fits well into the deck. I know we didn't face off against any of the Malamar-based decks, so either Necrozma or Ultra Necrozma, but having the Darkness Pokemon in our deck helps us there, and being resistant to Psychic helps us there as well with the Zoroarks, so there's nothing we really need against that. We could potentially look at another Psychic attacker of some sort to be there as well in addition to the Mew, but I'm not entirely sure that's where we want to be. Now, we could also just end up going into an additional trainer of some sort, or an additional energy, though I don't think we need any extra energy there overall. Next up, we had the one of Kartana. I never did get to use the Blade GX in any of the games that we played, but the Slice Off ability was extremely applicable. It's a very great utility Pokemon, and being able to use the Blade GX occasionally, where we are running the one of Metal Energy in the deck, is something that still makes this card great. So it's a good card overall. It's an enhanced hammer that we're able to Ultra Ball up, and there's a lot of decks running Special Energy right now, so it can be extremely strong, but it's could definitely see its way being cut out of the deck. I personally would keep it in. I would drop the Alolan Exeggutor GX 100% over the Kartana GX if I was dropping a Pokemon, and we don't really want to go down on our basic count either, so we would want to replace this with another basic of some sort. We did have the one of Mew. While we didn't get paired up against any of the Buzzwole decks, I definitely think it's still worth keeping the Mew in there overall. The Mew is going to be great against things like the Buzzwole, against the regular Necrozma decks. Being able to hit for weakness is extremely strong, though you do have to worry about Dawn Wings being able to hit back for a KO on it pretty easily. But if they do promote a Dawn Wings, we can just throw up a Zoroark and take a one-shot back. So we are still going to be ahead in that war there. Two of Lele is good. I don't think we really need a third. We're trying to keep our bench space pretty occupied with Zoroarks and having at least one Execute or Exeggutor going. So I don't think we want to have more bench space wasted. And we didn't really have the capability of tutoring up very often when we were in the late game because our bench was generally pretty full. Moving on into the trainers, I think 2 Field Blowers was the right count, at least for the games that we played. We did play against the Garbodor deck once, and the Field Blowers came in great use there. They did get a bit stuck, so if, again, you are playing against quite a bit of either Parallel City or Garbotoxin heavy metas, you might want to up the Field Blower count to probably a 3, but that might come in over, say, the Exeggutor GX, for example. The multi-switch wasn't terribly applicable either. I can definitely understand the purpose of having it in the deck. Being able to, say, retreat a Zoroark out of the active and move the DCE back up to the other Zoroark, or be able to swap the grass energies between Exeggutors or something like that could be useful. But more often than not, I was just pitching this. It was being traded away pretty frequently. It's a very corner case card, so I could definitely see cutting that from the deck as well. 2 of Professor's Letter, I think, is the right count for the deck. You don't want to hit it very often, but you do want to be able to hit it to have some easy trade fodder. This can turn itself into 4 cards, basically, if you have 2 Zoroarks in play, because you just get 2 of the energies that you're going to pitch them away, draw cards for free. We're looking to get the energies in the discard anyway, so this is just a great card in the deck. 4 of Puzzle of Time is still the correct count. If you're running Puzzle of Times at all, you're running them as a 4 of, and if you're running a Zoroark deck, you're running 4 of Puzzle of Time. It's pretty straightforward. It's just going to let you buy back cards that you discard early and get you back some of the key 1-ofs and 2-ofs that you might have already used earlier in the game. 1 of Rescue Stretcher was great. I don't think we want to get any more in here, or a Super Rod or anything like that. I think the 1 of is just fine. There were some pretty bad times where I had to discard it if I wanted to be able to use a Sycamore and things like that, but it ended up having really no relevant effect on the game either way, so I still think 1 of is the right number here. 4 of Ultra Ball, just for consistency, 100%. 2 of Acerola. The Acerolas were actually really great, where this deck is really trying to focus on a 2-shot war, playing Zoroarks and the Alolan Exeggutors, which are trying to be 2-shot back. Being able to put 1 back in your hand really just helps you win that 2-shot war overall, especially when you're using 1 prize attackers. 2 of Bridget is fine. I don't think we want to up it to a 3 of. We never had any issues having the Bridget when we needed it. We did get to start it in hand quite often as well, and being able to discard the second Bridget to the trades is pretty easy. If I were to increase the trainer counts, I might increase the Guzma from a 2 to a 3 potentially. It's going to be really strong when our opponent's trying to retreat already damaged Pokemon out of the active, and when our opponents are playing that 2-shot war with us, being able to get that active back, or that damaged Pokemon back up into the active for the KO is extremely relevant. The draw supporter count was fine. The 2 of Cynthia, 2 of N, and 2 of Sycamore. I don't think we want to add any additional draw supporters in here at all. It's just pretty consistent. We're having just consistent draw with the trades alone. But if we're looking again at that, say, Garbotoxin heavy meta, we might want to get an additional draw supporter in here. The 2-2 line of Choice Band and Floatstone was also fine. There weren't really many times that we were sat wanting. I may consider adding in an extra Floatstone because we are looking at having a pretty consistent 2-shot, and being able to get our Pokemon out of the active can be extremely important. If we were to, say, drop the multi-switch in the Alolan Exeggutor GX, I'd probably go to a 3 of Guzma, 3 of Floatstone. When we don't need the Floatstone, we can trade it away, but being able to get something out of the active consistently without energy attachments is very important. With the energy counts, the 4 of DCE, 1 Dark, 1 Fairy, 1 Fighting, 1 Metal, 1 Psychic, and 3 Grass was the perfect amount. I was never stuck wanting for an energy of a particular type. I did have that issue once with the versatile ability on the Mew, not letting me copy the Dangerous Rogue GX from our opponent's Lycanroc, so that was a bit of a bug there, but there's not much we can do there. I don't think we were winning that match anyways. If he had just any type of thing like a Rescue Stretcher plus DCE, something like that, he would have won, but it could have definitely bought us time to potentially take the game. Especially if we start taking apart our opponent's benched Pokemon. If we can get that Lycanroc off the bench as well, we could have likely taken a win there overall. So far, I gotta say, I did enjoy using the deck. It's a little complicated to use, and I definitely made some misplays along the way. I think if you were to put some time into it and practice with it and know the deck inside and out, you'd be able to do pretty well with it overall. I don't think you're going to be consistently going XO in your tournaments, but I could definitely see X1 pretty consistently with this deck. Sometimes you're just going to get a bad draw or a bad set of prizes, and that's just going to lose you your match. But overall, I can definitely say the deck was fun to play. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. This is Adam with 8 Badge Gaming. We always greatly appreciate your viewership, and this is me signing off.